I've had the fortunate event that I've been adjusting since I was around between the ages of 2 and 3 years old. My mom took me originally because she thought it was a good idea to take me to the chiropractor. She worked for a chiropractor. He was not like we are here. He was very adult-based, but he saw us because he knew that kids were supposed to be seen. Then fast forward to I'm 18, and I blew my knee out in weightlifting class playing kickball. And when I tore my knee up, I blew it out. I tore my ACL, PCL, and LCL. When that happened, I remember laying on the floor in the gym screaming because I watched my knee basically go from the size of normal size to the size of a grapefruit in about 2 to 3 seconds. And I've got tears in my eyes because I knew that I couldn't play football anymore. And I knew that what I was wanting to do wasn't going to happen. And it was just flying through my head. We went to the ER. The ER doc looked at my knee quickly and grabbed it, just wrenched on it and told me, "Oh, you got swelling in your knee." I said, "Really?" Because you can see the other one's clearly fine. And shot some x-rays and basically said, "I'm going to put you in an immobilizer and you're not going to be allowed to bend your knee for a couple weeks until you see your general practitioner in 2 weeks. That's your next appointment." And on my way home, my dad said, "So what do you want to do, Skip?" And I said, "You need to take me over to the chiropractor." And that's when I knew something was really important to me, that something was dawning on me, that I was like being drawn to something else. So I went over to the chiropractor, saw Dr. John Stowe. And John said, "Skip, I don't know quite what you did, but it's definitely tore." I said, "Okay." He goes, "Well, I'll call down to Gunderson Lutheran Sports Med." And that was on Friday morning. I had an appointment Monday afternoon to see an orthopedist. Because that's when I realized that chiropractors are more than just quote-unquote bone crackers that a lot of people say are bone movers. They're real doctors. And that they could actually do things and make things happen other than just a therapist would. So I went down to Gunderson Lutheran. My knee was not torn up to where they wanted to do surgery. I was in on Monday. I had the MRI on Thursday, met with the surgeon on Friday. That's how quickly things move. And it was because of John that's the way things went. So in therapy, we were 8 weeks into therapy, and I was squatting around 500 pounds. And the therapist looked at me and said, "Skip, you can't squat anymore, and here's why. Because every time you squat down, your knee's basically pushing out, and we don't want it to rupture anymore. Even with your brace on, we can't do that." I said, "Okay." And then his next sentence was, "You're progressing faster than anybody I've seen in the last 5 years. You're moving through this quickly. Why do you think you're getting better?" And I looked at him and I said, "Well, I've been getting adjusted like 3 times a week by my chiropractor back home. I knew that I needed to be adjusted. It helped me with my therapies." And he looked me right in the eyes and said, "That's not the reason why you're healing faster." And he said, "Do you honestly think your chiropractic adjustment of your neck is what's helping your knee out?" And I looked at him and I was kind of like, "Yeah, I think so." Now I can tell you I know that's definitely the reason why. I went down to Palmer College of Chiropractic when I was 18. And the minute I stepped on that campus, I knew that was the place I wanted to be. Very, very similar to falling in love or meeting the person you're supposed to marry. Like you just instantly know. I knew that was where I was supposed to be, that God was putting me in that place to change my life. So I applied when I got back home at 18 years old. I wasn't even out of high school yet, and got accepted on preliminary acceptance. Granted, I was going to go through college and pass everything, but Palmer had already said, "Yes, please come if you pass your classes." What was funny is that when I left school, I literally wanted nothing to do with kids. Nothing, because I was coming to Green Bay to practice. I had this pipe dream that I was going to take care of the athletes up here. So all of my background at that point was in sports chiropractic. Not a lot of patients know that. They will now, but not a lot of patients know that. And that's why I'm so well versed in adjusting extremities and adjusting ankles and knees and elbows and wrists and shoulders, because that's where a lot of my schooling was. Because I thought taking care of athletes was what every chiropractor's dream job was. And then we had our kids while I was in school. And when we had Peyton, my staff doctor basically told me, "You need to learn how to take care of kids whether you like it or not." And I said, well, her name was Dr. Brown, Dr. Monissa Brown. And she had a very tremendous impact on my life when I was at school and even now. And she said, your wife's pregnant, you have no choice. So she basically made me take care of every pregnant patient in school and on my rounds in clinic, take care of every kid that she could get in front of me. So I knew what I was doing when my kids were born. I still didn't want to see kids. It was a month into practice when I realized that kids was what I wanted to see. And the reason why is because I figured out that to have a direct linear effect on people's health, it had to start when they were a kid. Kids are where we need to cultivate this awareness that moving your spine and making sure we have full communication is where the body actually starts to heal itself. And that's where true health starts, because at 20 days old in utero is when the nervous system's developed. It's the notochord, it's when it comes together. Right then is when the heart and lungs and everything develop, but that nervous system's running everything from that point forward. And if we don't allow that communication to stay that way after birth, that's when the body starts to malfunction from that point forward. And that is a serious problem to me, because we weren't designed to do that. And you see it day in and day out when kids come in that are sick or have ADD, ADHD, or autism, basically a trash can of diagnosis, when really the ultimate thing is are they fully communicating and fully functioning? So if I can get a child in their bodies back to completely communicating between brain and body to brain, they'll start to heal. And then I can start looking and seeing, okay, what else is not going on properly? But I have the best job in the world. And the reason why is I get to help people every day, but it's the people I get to work with every day that makes my job special. It's so much fun to see kids that run in and run back to getting adjusted and run back on the tables and lay down, or I look up as I'm adjusting their parent and they're messing around with a bear, or they're adjusting their sibling, or that makes my heart melt when I get pictures or videos from parents of the kid working on like grandpa at home. And to me, that's special. I never have to force my care on anyone. And that to me is massive. I never have to try to force what I'm doing or force my personality in a conversation. I get to just be me. And that's huge, because I get to be authentic. I don't try to mask myself to anybody. It's a family environment. It's love. So when I come up and I see, even seeing one patient in our waiting room, if it doesn't matter what time of the day, I light up, I feel great, because they're here. And I know that they're here for a reason. They're here to get better, but they're here for our expertise in what we do with chiropractic and what we do to get their body better. And that's a blessing. It's a blessing to have. I love it. It's so much fun. Kids, the families are awesome here.